Hi, I'm Steve Wallace. I'm very good at World of Tanks, so let me take you through some examples of asinine, weird, odd and stupid things that are present within the game. Now, I'm going to punch myself into the first example because I'm not inventive enough to think of a better way of doing it. The AMX-40, a Tier 4 French light tank. It shares a love-hate relationship with a lot of the player base. It's hated by those who enjoy being competitive in more than a fifth of the games they play, and it's loved by idiots. Nicknamed the Duck by popular World of Tanks culture, I'm aware that the appeal of this tank probably lies within its derpy shiteness. Like, hello stupidly angled duck, meet a 183mm armor-piercing shell with 310mm of penetration. Okay, Peabody, can I ask, are you feeling confident?
I'm feeling very confident.
Very well then. May the duck gods be with you.
Bingo, there you go.
What? That said, I cannot be the only one that questions why, if you take the gun of the M3 Lee and compare it to that of the Duck, bearing in mind that these vehicles are the same tier, it is better in every single capacity. It has over twice the rate of fire at the same tier. I get that one's a light tank and one's a medium, but you would be hard-pressed to find stat disparities this gargantuan on tanks 2 tiers apart anywhere else in the game, let alone the same tier. Lord have mercy. Wargaming, in an attempt to stop vehicles from launching places that they shouldn't, incorporated engine stalling for when a vehicle was traversing land on too steep an incline. However, if you take a STRV from the Swedish Tankers trial line, you enter into siege mode, this mechanic doesn't apply. This allows you to casually yeet yourself up to places that no other vehicle is able to reach. We just can go into siege mode, aim all the way down, lock off our turret, and then accidentally go out of siege mode, and then go back into siege mode, lock off aim, zoom out, and just kind of, you know, just casually roll up this incredibly steep, icy cliff without a single fuck getting in our way. The Genie is a Tier 2 Japanese collector's vehicle, and if you are using the top gun on it, the HE shells only have 2mm less pen than the standard AP shells, and yet they do 20 more damage. They also have exactly the same shell velocity. Using these shells as your main ammo with a decent backup of heat shells turns this little Tier 2 light tank into a tanger on the battlefield, and I really don't know why it's designed like that. The T-71 CMCD, the non-auto-loading variant of the Tier 7 American medium tank, has the highest traverse speed in the entire game. Fully kitted out, it can reach 157.5 degrees a second, meaning it can fully traverse its tracks in under 2.3 seconds, which looks like this. Interesting bit of trivia as well, its soft terrain traverse in this setup only reaches up to 50, which is still amazing, but it does mean there's over 100 degrees a second difference between hard and soft terrain traverse on one tank, and visually at least, aesthetically that looks ridiculous. The Tier 5 premium French arty, the Elephant, has 390 metres of base view range, which is coincidentally the same as the Tier 10 French light tank, which means it can basically outspot anything in its tier. So I guess outspotting it will be a really hard task. The SU-5, a Tier 4 Collector's SPG. It has a choice of 4 different guns. However, should you elect to use the 122mm gun, you can observe an oddity. The premium HE shells of this vehicle have exactly the same pen as the standard shells, yet do 120 more damage. Neither shell stuns, and the premium shell doesn't have any reduction in burst radius. But for a marginal increase in credits, the shell just does 120 more damage with no disadvantage whatsoever. Game design dab. The Challenger Tier 7 British tank destroyer has a counterweight on the back of its turret that is 200mm thick. Now, for most people this doesn't come into play other than provoking the occasional accidental bounce, but if you're aware of it, and you happen to run into a moron in an OI who believes that it's a good idea to fire AP at you, it's actually really goddamn funny. Before the Jagdpanther II was a collector's vehicle, it led on to the Jagdtiger at Tier 9, which has the highest health pool of any vehicle in the game at Tier 9, 2,100 hit points. Whereas the Jagdpanther II was comparatively quite fragile, having only 1,150. That meant that by moving up just one tier, you gained 950 hit points, which is 40 hit points more than the entire amount of hit points you gained from going from Tier 5 to Tier 10 in the French light tank line. That's a lot of girth. There are over 130 heavy tanks within World of Tanks. 5 of them are IS-2s. The MT-25 Tier 6 Russian light tank has experienced a plethora of weaponry throughout its time. However, currently, if you look at its top gun, the premium shells have more pen, but do 5 less damage. Lead, comrade. The Panzer SFL, Tier 5 German tank destroyer, has 90 degrees of gun elevation, meaning it can quite literally point its gun directly up like a flagpole. Yet, according to Wargaming, it can still get 8% harder. Certain guns in the game, like the Solo Thorn on the Panzer II, in my opinion the worst gun on any tank in the entire game, they have a limited firing range, meaning once those shells hit that distance, they will disappear from existence on this plane of existence. Oh yeah, my shells don't travel that far. Look at them! They just disappear before they reach him! They literally don't hit him! However, if you fire shells from a range-limited gun within a training room at enemy tanks, you will still get voice responses as if you were hitting the target, even though the shell has disappeared.
Penetration. We didn't penetrate their armor. We didn't even scratch them. We didn't penetrate their armor. That one didn't go through. We didn't penetrate their armor. That one didn't go through. We didn't even scratch them.
Hey, thanks for watching. Was there anything I missed? I recommend checking out the playlist that will appear shortly in 3, 2, like the video, 1, go.
Master of variety, creator of the classiest society, and nothing can beat him but the Tiger P, he's always delivering. That is no dystonia, his hands are calm. That is wargaming shivering, strong like a Range Rover, hot like a flamethrower. He'll beat your chieftain in the talk, game over. Raping games and KV trains, rushing